Hi, everybody. Pastor Paul here. And that is video of Kabul in Afghanistan in the past 24 hours. As once again, we have a Vietnam like moment in America where we hustle to get out of a country and leave behind many who served us while we were there at war with their country, and we got out. Now, let me be exceedingly clear. I'm grateful to President Biden and honestly to President Trump, who had begun the process before that we are out of Afghanistan. I believe personally that we should never have been there in the first place. That we got into war in Afghanistan, in Iraq, and have caused immeasurable harm and damage to that area of the world because we just so needed revenge on somebody after 9/11. And we thought, Iraq and Afghanistan, they look easy. 20 years later, we finally get out of Afghanistan. But my heart for the tragedy of the Afghan people and what they're about to go through and experience the wreckage that we've left behind in countries like Iraq and Iran and others, where we put our own interest ahead of the interest of the people of the country and then leave behind a huge mess. And as Pastor Paul, my heart belief is that God does not agree with or say we're in alignment with his heart in our Christian love of military and of the belief that God's plan exists on earth if America is the greatest military power in the world, and that our military can set things right to be godly in the world. And when we believe that it can, we do terrible things to countries around the world. And then we think they hate us because we're Christian and they're not, when in fact they hate us because we have created immeasurable damage in our wake, in the belief that everything we do around the world in political and military relations is in alignment with God's heart. When Jonah in the Bible, in the story of Jonah in the Bible, is disgusted by God's mercy for people that are of a different race, a different nationality, and a different religion than his, and he says, I'd rather be dead than live in a world, God, where you would have mercy on those people, on my enemies. God says to him, do you do well to think this way? Do you do well, Jonah? That's not a compliment. That is a mocking. How's that working out for you, Jonah, to feel that way? And even then, Jonah says, I don't want to be alive in a world where you would have mercy on my enemies. And don't evangelicals say the same? Get us out of here. Come, Jesus, and rapture us out of this terrible world. And in the meantime, give us a military that can take care of those people and keep them in line. I was thinking about this one day in my mindfulness and prayer time, and just had a sense of being able to talk to Jesus about all of this, about our battle to impose abortion bans on people and gay marriage bans on people. Sorry for my dog joining the eInspire today. We've got a delivery at the door, and he likes to let me know that the delivery man is here. But my sense of that conversation with Jesus was this. I feel like Jesus would said to me at that time, sort of in my imagination, and would say to the church today, how did I impact the world? By conquering it, by taking over the mountains of culture, by putting Christians in charge of society? No, Jesus changed the world by serving it, loving it, and dying for it. And when his best buddies, James and John, said, I'm so mad that those people rejected you, Jesus, we're going to call fire down from heaven and wipe them out. Jesus rebuked them, the Bible says, rebuked them in the harshest terms. And he said, you guys don't know the spirit you're partnered with right now. And I just believe, as I watch that video today, that God would say to us Christians, you don't know the spirit you are of when you destroy countries in your own self-interest and call it godly. And make no mistake, this was our self-interest. I'm not saying there wasn't a military purpose to go after bad people in Afghanistan, but I don't believe we had to do it the way we did it. And I certainly don't believe we had to go into Iraq. I think both of those things were out of a heart bent for revenge for 9/11 and feeling like pretty much anything we do militarily in the world is justified by God. And when you get to that place as a society, you're in a really dangerous place because throughout history, i.e., David doing the census in his own country, when you feel like your military power and your might and your economic strength is what keeps the world intact, something comes along and overturns that, and you say, oh, wow, maybe we may have been wrong. The old song says, war, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. And I believe more than ever that song is absolutely correct because 20 years of fighting in Afghanistan accomplished nothing. Nothing. I'm not saying the people that fought there shouldn't be hailed as heroes and gallant fighters, but I'm saying the next time we decide our military can fix the world for God, let's remember these pictures. Pictures of us tucking tail and running from another country, leaving a mess behind. Don't forget, this was a Christian president with a Christian administration, a Christian vice president, a Christian secretary of state, Christians down the line in the G.W. Bush administration that made up a lie to take us to war in Iraq and went to a war in Afghanistan so that they could plan to have a banner that said mission accomplished on it and make us feel really good about ourselves for getting revenge for 9/11. Was it worth it? I was able to minister to a soldier in our church that came back from Iraq. His life forever changed by the horrors of war. We love war and we love military, but it does destructive, terrible things to people, our own and others. And I want us to consider, Christians, is that picture in alignment with God's heart? Or is that picture God saying, this is what happens when you believe your military strength and your economic strength and your pursuit of your own safety can set the world right? It hasn't worked ever since World War II. Why do we think it would work now? God have mercy on us. Do we do well to want our military to set those people straight? To call literal fire down from heaven on people when Jesus is saying, I didn't come to destroy people. I came to save them, to sozo them, to reconcile them to heaven. How do you call this the message of the gospel? There is a better way. We can serve and be willing to die to the common good needs of one another. And that is what changes the world. That's the message of Jesus. That's what Jesus came to demonstrate, that your love for the Father is exemplified through your loving your neighbor as yourself. And then Jesus, through the parable of the Good Samaritan, said, and you know who your neighbor is? It's your enemy. It's the person that you don't think deserves God's favor, just as Jonah felt about the Ninevites. And if that video doesn't make us stop and think, oh God, bring my heart in alignment with yours, then I don't know what will. And maybe it's an unfixable generation if we can't get there. Thought I would share that with you today. But I pray that God have mercy on us for what we've done. I don't know if President Biden could have done this better. I appreciated his speech today that said, hey, if Afghan can't fight for itself, why would we send our boys? Now, I don't like to be that unfeeling, but I want us to recognize through all of this war, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Maybe God is trying to show us there's a better way to bring shalom to the world. Thanks for letting me share my eInspire with you today. Bless you guys. Join my Patreon page, sign up and subscribe. That's how you support this ministry. And I would love to meet you on the Patreon page. Let me put up the address. Sorry, I just jumped on a spur of the moment with just a thought. But yeah, patreon.com/NPE podcast. Subscribe, get some special content from me, and help support this work I do as Pastor Paul. Bless you guys. I see the comments. Sorry I didn't get to interact with you too much. I've already gone longer than I planned on, but I love you all. We'll talk to you again soon.